What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you on Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points and what they're saying post earnings and ultimately where things might be going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So right now Rivian is up 3.18%, piggybacking off the broader market's kind of success. And so in reality, that success that's happening in the broader market is saving Rivian because there was a new 52-week and all-time low created today at 10.05. So Rivian, people just still are not satisfied with what came from their earnings because it showed very little expectations of 2024. And so that's not necessarily good. A lot of people are trying to give explanations and trying to justify their inadequate targets, right? Saying that they're going to set the bar low and that way they can jump over it and whatever else. Even looking at their earnings though, they did not do anything to control costs because they stated in Q1 and also Q2 of 2023, and plus they did lay off some staff during that time frame, but they said that they're going to be really focusing on cutting costs. So ultimately, it just, yeah, you can look at the multiples and the metrics and just try to analyze where Rivian does need to go. But truly, it just looks like they do not have a true good grasp on what they're doing. And so this isn't, that's the market saw that, analysts see that, and this is why they've been giving a lot of downgrades and many things. And plus, even Elon decided to chime in, even though he did previously state both Rivian and Lucid are heading towards bankruptcy. But aside from that, he felt justified to, I guess, point out the fact that Rivian needs to cut costs massively. So yeah, it's not necessarily the best earnings. I'm going to be doing a dedicated video all about their earnings and my true thoughts on that. But as of right now, going over some of the data points, I'll break that all down for you. Looking at this, so these are some of the analyst ratings that did come out since their earnings. A couple came in today. So Dan Levy with Barclays did give a $12 price target. Dan has a 45% success rating. Take that with a grain of salt because all analysts that cover EVs are wrong, right? EVs have been slaughtered unless you're kind of doing Tesla or reviewing Tesla. But aside from that though, everyone has been wrong. Stefan has a 36% success rating and Jordan a 29. So 12, 18, and 11, 45 rating came in today. Aside from that, since their earnings though, you generally have saw some pretty good optimism, couple downgrades, so $8 and $11 price targets, but still I see a lot of this as optimistic. So a lot of these analysts are thinking later in the 2024 or at least 1 year out. So even if you're buying right now, that's a pretty good return on investment if you think about it, I guess from now until the end of the year. Big money is really looking at Rivian. So these are some of the transactions that have occurred on the secondary market above $100,000 today. And even post earnings though, you have seen that big money has been buying and getting into Rivian. So that overall is a good sign. Even myself, I've been buying in multiple different accounts. I bought recently at 11.32 or it might have been 11.30, but regardless, I also did buy some at $13. That is because I did sell some puts, $13 puts, but still I'm really happy with Rivian bigger picture, not their earnings. Their earnings was horrific, but I still do believe that Rivian has the good foundation to be the next big thing against Tesla. But then again, what do I know, right? I could be very much wrong about all of that. But aside from that though, there has been no other news that's been coming out associated to Rivian. There's been a couple hints from private accounts about the R2 being the next big saving race for Rivian, but again, it's just one of those future situations and just trying to stimulate hope. But that's just my opinion, of course. Looking at what shorts are doing right now, they're increasing 4.5 million shares. 16.8% of the free float is being shorted, so that has gone up quite a lot over the last little bit. 114.33 million shares overall are being shorted, and cost to borrow average is a little bit lower in comparison to yesterday at 0.92%. And as I've said in the past, I'm just bringing this up as a benchmark just to show you the sentiment, because technically with Rivian being green and them increasing 4.5 million shares, shorts are doubtful about the validity of Rivian being green today. And so this is why you did see that sell off first thing and why it did make that new 52-week and all-time low at 10.05. So pretty interesting stuff. As far as looking here at options, so I'll quickly just refresh this with the market now open. So $3.68 million in calls being purchased versus $3.08 million in puts. Sentiment sentiment wise, 52% of all the options being done today so far are optimistic. The only caveat to that I wanted to bring up is when shorts do actually increase their position and they feel that there is a likelihood that the stock could go up, they hedge. They hedge with call options. So a lot of this most likely is just skewing the numbers somewhat. So take that once again with a grain of salt. Ultimately, we can never know who is actually buying call options. You can kind of look at the premiums and the total dollar value and associate that clearly to retail or an institution, but you can't tell if it's associated to shorts or not. But of the call options that are being purchased so far right now, there's a consensus for it to be above about 1050, and that's by the end of this week. And moving on, looking at puts though, it is anticipated for it to be sub $10. So both extremes, unfortunately. But moving on though, looking right here with it, currently at $10.36, it is between this S3 and this S2. So in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it's just slaughtered. And I think that's been the case, or everyone generally knows that Rivian missed on their earnings and has been massively just butchered to death. So $9.93 is going to be that next strong support. So the fact that it did bounce off of that 10.05 range does show that this right here is a very strong support. So that could really stand to benefit Rivian, potentially, at least in the short term, assuming the market does continue to have a lot of good value rallies or just positive momentum right now. But $12.74 is going to be that next strong resistance. Very wide gaps, as you can kind of see right here. So there is going to be a lot of volatility. You just have to be very comfortable with that. And I do feel within this range, if you have a long-term time horizon, it might be a very good time to potentially average down. But as I said, what do I know, right? But looking at some of the technicals right now though, so it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, below a lot of the key pivotal moving averages, so both the 50 and 100. Looking at stochastic though, because of the recent sell-off, it has reset the technicals, so that could really stand to benefit. Again, if the broader market does continue to rally, Rivian is going to participate in a lot of that. But despite that though, you do see a deviation, so red line above the white, and so that does signal a overall bearish sentiment. Looking at the momentum indicator, shows number of retail investors are getting in today, so they're piggybacking and just seeing Rivian go up and assuming it will hit the 11, 12 and whatever else. That might be the case potentially, but with GDP numbers coming out on Wednesday and then PCE on Thursday, you're going to have a lot of last minute jitters most likely occurring tomorrow about PCE. But I've done a video already under my other channel, so Trending Stocks, all about how potentially the PCE numbers might be given a hall pass. So even if they are negative, showing a little bit hotter in January, it might be forgiven by the broader market. But all in all, let me know your thoughts on Rivian. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What is your thoughts on Rivian? But one thing that I just wanted to mention though, is looking on the actual technicals, ever since their earnings did occur, it is outside the Bollinger Band. So it's kind of lower percentile, but still at the same time outside. So usually when that does happen, you kind of get it pulled, dragged back in, and it kind of has a value rally of sorts. So as you can kind of even zoom out, like whenever it breaks out, it does usually trend up higher, unless it's unjustified or whatever else. But typically that is exactly what does happen time and time again. So I think this is where a lot of people as well, through options, and where big money is assuming that that might actually occur to even maybe around this $12 range. So let me know your thoughts on Rivian. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo only up until February the 29th. Simply throw $100 at a new account and they give you 5 free stocks. Crazy deal. This is one of the best deals in the market. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.